Cześć, witam Cię bardzo serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku z gry Dziedzictwo Hogwartu. Zostaw kciuka, subskrypcję, dzwoneczek. Znajdujemy się teraz w Hogsmeade, ale będziemy sobie najpierw wykonywać tutaj questika porozmawiać z Imeldą Reyes, czyli odpalamy mapę i przechodzimy sobie na mapę świata i nasz quest, moi mili Państwo, doprowadzić nas musi aż do tego miejsca. O kurde, to może jednak nie będziemy najpierw robili tego questa, tylko zaczniemy sobie od misji fabularnej i porozmawiamy z portretem profesora Nian Fitzgeralda w komnacie mapy. Dobra, lecimy w takim razie do Hogwartu. Nieprzemyślane to było, ale zróbmy tak. Dobra, komnata jest tutaj, więc standardowo sobie jakoś może przejdziemy od jakiegoś miejsca. Bierzemy sobie randomowo, może uda nam się coś znaleźć po drodze. Mimo tego, że i tak mamy już tego moda znalezionego do odkrycia wszystkiego w tej grze, ale chciałbym jednak samemu dotrzeć do tych rzeczy. No kurczę, świąteczna dekoracja się tu pojawiła. Ciekawe. Da się jakoś w tej grze sprawdzić czas, jaki mamy aktualnie? Chyba nie. Gdzieś to by było jednak pokazane, nie? Mamy jakiś talent do wydania? Nie, 0 punktów. Czarną magię, bo cały czas jeden muszę trzymać teraz już. Powinien niedługo się pojawić jednak punkcik do wydania w Avada Kedavra. Myślę, że teraz jak zmienił się wystrój, troszeczkę inaczej to powinno być. Cały czas tutaj to przejście jest.
Revelio.
Ja cały czas nie wiem, jak się tam do tego przejścia dostać. Chwilę myślałem, że może z tego pomieszczenia, ale...
Revelio.
Są zajęcia z alchemii. Za ścianą jest posążek. A, no tak. To już robiłem.
Revelio.
Zejdźmy do komnaty mapy w takim razie. Jeszcze chyba widziałem questa na mapie teraz jakiegoś.
Welcome
Tam na
back.
górze.
Hello, Professor. I have news. The goblins are looking for something. Another repository. They've built drills to help with their search.
Most troubling.
Are these repositories like the broken container I found at Rookwood Castle?
They are. I fear we have no time to lose. Have a look at the map. Fortunately, the next trial is fairly nearby.
It's Hogwarts.
As you know, I was headmistress in my time. My portrait hangs in the headmaster's office. In fact, I witnessed Professor Black learn of your arrival. And I'll confess that I wondered about you.
Wait, is the next trial in the headmaster's office?
It is. I had hoped that when the time came, the occupant of that office would be of help to us. Unfortunately, this headmaster seems wildly unconcerned with anything but himself. You'll need to access the office while he's away.
I understand. Very well. I'll find some way to get in.
Good. I shall meet you in my portrait there. Until then.
Misja zakończona. Dobra, mapka. Rozmawiaj z puchonką w skrzydle. Dobra, idźmy w takim razie do niej.
How will I gain access to the headmaster's office? Perhaps Professor Fig will know what to do.
O! W sumie ma to sens. Tamto miejsce, gdzie nie byliśmy, to może być właśnie gabinet dyrektora. Ale najpierw zróbmy poboczniaka. Aczkolwiek w Harrym Potterze już w późniejszych tych czasach gabinet dyrektora jest w totalnie łatwym w sumie do dostępu po tym miejscu, nie?
Good thing Mr. Weasley takes her role seriously. He clearly has no interest in his.
Revelio.
To miejsce mnie zastanawia
We
ciągle.
should speak with Mr. Bickle's friends. I believe I can sneak away without drawing my mother's eye. Meet me near Hogsmeade, and we
Defender. Confringo.
I think I know how and where to approach the centaurs about protecting the Snidgets. Meet me in the Forbidden Forest.
W zakazanym lesie.
Revelio.
Kurde, tu jest zejście do tego. Ale to nie jest to miejsce, to nie jest ta lokacja.
Revelio.
Też nie jest przejście stąd. Bo tu już byłem.
Confringo.
Strasznie to jest zastanawiające, jak się tam dostać. I strasznie mnie to denerwuje, że ja się tam nie mogę dostać nadal. Proszę mi pozwolić tam iść. Jak pada.
Revelio.
Na górę, dobra. A, to jest ten korytarz, dobra.
I thought I could count on my friend.
Pardon me, is everything all right?
No, it's not. We only had 2 bells to go, but she just had to go and spoil things.
I'm afraid I don't follow. Who spoiled things? Was it what bells?
Professor Black ordered Mr. Moon to take down the bells in the bell tower. Said they were giving him a headache. Those bells are a part of Hogwarts. I wasn't about to let that happen. So I asked my friend Adelaide to help me put them back. We've always been a duo of sorts, Adelaide and Evangeline. Addie and Evie. Anyway, it was going swimmingly until Black started asking questions. Then she wasn't comfortable with our rule breaking. Now I'm stuck, unable to tell which bell goes where.
Is it really that important that the bells go back up?
Is it really that important? They're part of the school's history. Those bells likely told a young Merlin that he was running late to Charms, or called Ignatia Wildsmith to dinner. We can't simply fiddle with history. We're meant to be its stewards.
It's certainly an odd decree, even for Black, taking down the bells for a headache.
I agree. I thought it might also have been that they interrupted his hourly naps. That's all he does in his office, you know. But then I heard... Can you keep a secret?
I can.
I heard from Alice, who heard from Ollie, who heard from Eugenia, that it's because the bells reminded him of his wedding day. Breaks out in a sweat every hour on the hour, but mum's the word.
If only 2 bells are left, isn't it fairly easy to tell which goes where?
Easy for you, perhaps. I happen to be tone deaf. Mother likes to say I couldn't carry a tune if it hopped on my back like a chocolate frog. No point putting them back in if they don't sound just as they did before, for the sake of historical accuracy.
Perhaps I could help put the bells back up.
Really? Oh, that would be wonderful. The bells are in the bell tower just above the music room. You're certainly of more help than Adelaide.
I imagine the bells are just inside in the bell tower.
Czyli to jest ten questik. O kurczę, co tu się... No, to jest ten questik, co żeśmy tam zrobili wtedy. Dzwonnicy. W sensie, że poszedłem tam i już mam go wykonanego. Tam trzeba było te dzwony poustawiać w dobrych miejscach.
The bells are back up, Evangeline.
Oh, you're a credit to the school. I can't wait to hear them. I can't wait for the headmaster to hear them. I wish I could see his face. Future generations may not truly appreciate what you've done, but I do. And I hope that you do as well. You don't know how much this means for me and for Hogwarts.
Okej. Jeszcze zostało tylko 22 zadania poboczne. To jest ta babka tam na końcu, dobrze pamiętam? Tak, dobra, to na razie zostawiamy. To też. Spotkaj się z Poppy w zakazanym lesie i porozmawiaj z Nati koło Hogsmeade. Dobra, to do zakazanego lasu lecimy. Mapa Hogwartu, nie, to kliknąłem. Mapa świata oczywiście. Tu z nią mamy pogadać. W tym miejscu mamy już wszystko wykonane dokładnie. Stepnijmy się po prostu tutaj i podejdziemy ten kawałek do niej. W sumie mamy już zrobione wszystko na mapach, oprócz tam kilku skarbów, których nie wiem gdzie są aktualnie. No i oczywiście Hogsmeade i oczywiście jeszcze Hogwart, nie? Tam wisi.
I can do this. I can do this. They will want to help.
Is this where we're meeting the centaurs?
Well, they don't exactly know we're coming, so it's less of a meeting and more of a surprise, I suppose.
Once we tell them about the Snidgets, they'll understand why we came and they'll want to help.
I hope you're right. Perhaps they'll be able to tell that we're sincere. There's something about them that's so knowing. It's almost unnerving.
I suppose they are known for having an air of omniscience.
That's exactly the right word. I just... Never mind.
What is it?
It's nothing, truly. We've no secrets to hide.
That's right. We'll simply be honest with them about what we're trying to do. They'll have to help us, won't they?
Yes, of course. You're absolutely right. We'll meet with them, tell them about the Snidgets, and I'm sure to all be fine.
What do you think you're doing here, humans?
Please! We were hoping to speak with you.
Ah! I suppose you'd like a tale for your friends of the time you spoke to a centaur, and it spoke back.
No, never. We're here because we need your help.
Enough! You made a grave error in judgment in coming here, little witch.
Leave them be, Alec. We do not harm the young. It is not our way.
You forget your place, old fool. I'm the leader of this herd, and while you cling to our way, their kind continue to slaughter beasts like us without a care!
From what I can see, they have slaughtered no one. They will leave here unharmed.
Mark my words, Doran. If I ever see them again, it will be all 3 of your heads.
Foolish children. Do you know what happens to wizards who wander here? Now, follow me before
Golden
I...
Snidgets are still alive, and the poachers are after them. They know that the key to finding them lies in the moonlight, but they don't know what that means, yet. Please, help us find the Snidgets before the poachers do.
Could it be? In the south, there is a cave within which lies what the poachers seek. A moonstone. Retrieve it and place it in the henge in the forest. I, on the other hand, must go speak with the herd. Find me after you have done this.
I don't understand. So the moonlight mentioned in the journal doesn't refer to actual moonlight, but to a moonstone. What do moonstones have to do with Snidgets? And why was he so certain about where we could find one?
Isn't Moonstone all around us? Why retrieve one from a cave?
Knowing centaurs, I suspect he's referring to a specific moonstone. We'll likely know it when we see it.
I don't know, but I am inclined to believe him, what with his being a centaur and all.
I am too. It is a shame how quickly he left. What was his name? Doran.
That's what the leader of the herd called him.
Well, if Doran knows something we don't, I'd rather act now and ask questions later. I can head to the library and start looking into the cave he mentioned. I'll let you know what I find.
Aha, okej. Czyli ty sobie idziesz na razie, a ja mam zająć się czymś innym. Spoko. To w takim razie zmieńmy questa na tego. Skoczmy do Hogsmeade. Ciekawe jest to, że została mi jedna skrzynia, jeden przewodnik i jedna ten posąg. I ja nie wiem, gdzie to jest, nie? Wait. A, to jest pod Hogsmeade, dobra. Dobra, to sobie tutaj tepnę. Do tego miejsca. Będę miał bliżej, żeby przejść po prostu tak. Hogsmeade. Ja mam jakieś rzeczy w inwentory do sprzedania. 8/40, no to na pewno nie mam. Dobra. Możemy lecieć w takim razie. Dalej.
Revelio.
Był jakiś patch ostatnio i widzę, że ta gra troszeczkę gorzej zaczęła działać teraz. Niż działała wcześniej.
Are you ready to put an end to Harlow?
I'm ready to do what's needed to take Harlow down. I know you have a plan.
We must gather information from the friends of Mr. Bickle that Archie and Mrs. Bickle mentioned. Agabus Filbert, Otto Dibble, and Mr. and Mrs. Rabe.
All right.
I suggest that you speak with each of them while I head to the Hogshead. I saw some Ashwinders heading there. And as my mother would never go near the Hogshead, she is less likely to learn of my activities than if I were to wander the village questioning its residents.
Where am I to find these friends of his?
I do not know about Mr. Rabe, but his wife, Daisy, is often in Hogsmeade, as is Agabus Filbert. And Otto Dibble, he works at Gladrags, so you will likely find him there.
What sort of information am I trying to gather from these people?
They may know what evidence Mr. Bickle had against Harlow, or they may have evidence of their own. We simply need to know whatever they know.
Very well. I'll speak with them, see what I can learn.
I knew I could rely on you. We need to know how they are being blackmailed by Rookwood and Harlow. Meet me here after you have spoken with them. Hopefully, by the time you return, I will be able to move a bit more freely.
Dobra. Porozmawiać z Agusem, z Daisy i Ottonem. Myślę, że to, co nam zostało do zrobienia w tej lokacji, to jest w tym jednym budynku, który tam jest jeszcze zamknięty. Zabarykadowany.
Revelio.
Bo no, nigdzie indziej już mi się nic nie wyświetla. Nawet to, co tutaj jest pokazane, to ja już tam byłem i sprawdzałem wszystko. W tamtej lokacji.
Agabus Filbert must be around here somewhere.
Masz go nawet oznaczonego, nie?
Hello there.
Excuse me, Mr. Filbert. I wondered if I might speak with you about your dealings with Theophilus Harlow. I hoped to ease Mrs. Bickle's mind by gathering evidence against him.
Oh, tragic what happened to Bickle. He wanted me to speak out against Harlow for an act of violence committed against me. But I feared Harlow's retaliation, and so I refused.
If you had spoken out against him as Mr. Bickle asked, perhaps Harlow would be locked away by now.
Perhaps. But perhaps I would have suffered a similar fate.
You said that Harlow committed an act of violence against you. Could you tell me what happened?
Before my extraordinary wife, Dulcibella, passed away, she had just completed a small book of poetry. As a surprise for her birthday, one she never had the chance to celebrate, I had the book beautifully bound and plated in gold. One day, Harlow came calling to punish me for having spoken out against the Neanderthals that comprise Rookwood's lot. Before I knew it, I'd been petrified, and Harlow was rifling through my home. He found the book of poetry, with its exquisite gold plating. I watched helplessly, lying there in my entranceway as he walked away with the book, laughing as he went. I was shaken to my core. Still am, to be honest.
I imagine you fear Harlow retaliating again, but do you mind if I share this information with Officer Singer?
I suppose I have no choice. This extortion can't go on forever. You can pass it on to anyone who may be willing to help. Harlow does not like people talking, as you already know.
Okej.
To find Mr. Bickle's other two friends.
Dobra, idziemy teraz dalej. Do tamtej
Revelio.
dwójeczki. Z nimi pogadać. No ale to jest 100% tamten budynek, no nie uwierzę, no tutaj już byliśmy wszędzie. No nawet mogę zerknąć sobie na mapę. I to miejsce ma zrobione pewnie te. Bliżej jeszcze, bo tu chyba była jeszcze jedna taka lokacja. Do której się wchodziło chyba? Albo i nie. Dobra, no ale w każdym razie no tutaj w tym miejscu no jak widać jest brak czy jakiegokolwiek skarbu.
Revelio.
To musi być tamten budynek. O, to tu jest, dobra. W tym miejscu. Ta osoba. Tu były schody.
Mrs. Rabe should be nearby.
No jest. Tutaj na górze.
Oh, Isco, what have I done?
Mrs. Rabe, I wondered if I might speak with you about Theophilus Harlow. I'm a friend of the Bickles and I'm trying to gather evidence against him.
Poor Joanna and little Archie. And now Harlow has taken my darling Isco.
What do you mean? Why?
I'm a security guard at Gringotts, and my husband is a curse breaker for them. Harlow approached me about helping him extort my colleagues into giving him treasures from the vaults.
And you declined?
Of course I declined. Repeatedly. I thought they'd given up, until I came home one night and found my husband gone, and a note affixed to my door with a knife. The note stated that I only had a few days to reconsider helping with some banking needs, and that my husband would appreciate it if I acted quickly.
But the help Harlow wants is help that I cannot give. And my dearest Isco is paying the price.
Why wouldn't Harlow extort your husband?
Isco's job is even more removed from the vaults than mine. He travels the world for the bank. He could do nothing for Harlow. I'm the one in the bank on a daily basis, which evidently makes me an enticing target for blackmail.
Have you helped Harlow since your husband was taken?
No, I'm worried sick about Isco, but he'd never want me to compromise my integrity. I also know that he's extremely clever. That said, I was hoping he would have escaped by now. It makes me concerned as to why he hasn't.
Are you sure the note means that your husband was kidnapped?
What else could it possibly mean? Besides, I came home to find that someone had trampled the daisies in our garden. It may sound silly, but those were Isco's pride and joy. He would never have let that happen.
Thank you, Mrs. Rabe. Knowing the lengths that Harlow will go to is helpful, albeit more than disturbing.
Mr. Bickle was trying to help us, but now he's gone. I don't know what to do.
I shall do all I can to get evidence against Harlow, Mrs. Rabe.
Very well. Here's the note I received. You must be careful as well. Please don't put yourself in danger.
Pani Rabe, liczymy na to, że ponownie rozważy Pani naszą prośbę o pomoc w sprawach bankowych. Daliśmy Pani dość czasu na podjęcie własnej decyzji, ale nasze pokłady cierpliwości zaczynają się wyczerpywać. Wiemy, że Pani mąż bardzo by to docenił, gdyby dostrzegła Pani wartość współpracy z nami. Czy możemy spodziewać się odpowiedzi do końca tygodnia? Najlepiej, gdyby sprawa pozostała między nami. Zapewne Pani rozumie, co mamy na myśli.
Some evidence worth hanging on to.
Revelio.
Thank you. I hope it's not too late.
We're on the right track. Now to find the last of Mr. Bickle's friends.
Okej, została ostatnia osoba, z którą musimy porozmawiać. Jest ona tutaj.
Otto Dibble works at Gladrags. I should check there.
Please tell me you didn't take it, but perhaps it's been here all along.
Revelio.
Gdzie ta skrzynia mi się pokazała?
Please tell me you didn't take it, but perhaps it's been here all along.
Co jest, kurwa?
Please tell me you didn't take it, but
Mr. Dibble, may I speak with you? It's about Theophilus Harlow.
I've nothing to say about him. May I interest you in a stunning cravat today?
Please, sir, I'd like to help. I spoke to Mrs. Bickle.
You know the Bickles? All right, but we must be discreet. Can't have Mr. Hill hearing this.
I know Mr. Hill. He was kind to me the day of the troll attack.
Oh, he's a good man, but even he wouldn't understand about Harlow. It started a few weeks ago. I was distracted, reading a note, when you-know-who came into the shop. I hid the note behind the counter and offered to help him. He stared at me for a moment, then asked me to check on an order he'd placed. I went into the storeroom to check on what turned out to be a non-existent order. When I returned, he was holding the note.
What was in the note?
It was a note from Rosie Hill, Mr. Hill's daughter. You see, we've been, well, secretly engaged these past 6 months. We haven't told Mr. Hill yet. I dare say he has higher hopes for her. Harlow advised me in no uncertain terms that my relationship with Rosie, not to mention my employment here, depended upon my cooperation.
What did he ask you to do?
It all happened so quickly. In an instant, he took a very expensive scarf from the counter, pocketed it, and smiled. He said, "Your secret is safe as long as I can supply my lady friend with delightful items like this every so often." I've been able to cover for his requests until now with some creative bookkeeping, but I can't keep it up for much longer. I'm terrified to say anything. I could never live without Rosie.
Could you give me a bit more detail about the note? That might help me to identify it should I come across it.
It's on Rosie's special pink stationery. It has her monogram at the top, RH. That's how Mr. Hill would know it was real.
What have you been doing to keep the extortion a secret?
Well, as I mentioned, creative bookkeeping. And I've also been trying to cover the costs with my own savings, but I'm running out of money. Of course, none of this bodes well for my efforts to improve my circumstances and be worthy of Rosie.
I met Mr. Hill the day of the troll attack. He was kind to me. Why don't you just tell him?
He's a lovely man. But when it comes to Rosie, I fear he loses all perspective. He'd see this as a grave betrayal. I'd lose my job instantly, and Rosie as well.
Thank you for telling me. I'm gathering evidence to take Harlow down.
I would love nothing more than to see him rotting in Azkaban, but be careful. He's an awful man and incredibly dangerous. As for Rosie's letter, should you happen upon it, I have committed it to memory. You may destroy it immediately.
Understood.
Now
Okay.
hurry off before Mr. Hill returns.
Revelio.
Where were I?
I've spoken with Mr. Bickle's friends. Now to find Natty.
Okej, musimy do niej wrócić, ale zrobimy to oczywiście już w kolejnym odcinku, bo na teraz to tyle. Dzięki serdecznie za oglądanie, zostaw kciuka, subskrypcję, dzwoneczek. Wbiję oczywiście do linku w opisie. Kolejny odcinek z Dziedzictwa Hogwartu jutro o 17, a o 15 oczywiście The Last of Us. Trzymaj się, cześć.